Today we're making this easy 5-minute no yeast pizza. I'm going to show you two versions, a quick stovetop pizza, which makes a fast, delicious lunch or dinner, and a more traditional version. Both are incredibly easy. The dough is made using only 2 ingredients and they're delicious. For this 2-ingredient pizza dough, you'll need some self-rising flour, which I'll talk about in a moment and give you some tips and other options, and any plain yogurt of your choice. It doesn't have to be Greek yogurt. It doesn't have to be full fat, less fat, zero fat. Any plain yogurt works. You're going to combine these 2 ingredients together in a bowl using a spoon or a spatula, and then you'll eventually have to bring this dough together on your board. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Make sure to subscribe and click that notification bell. I post new videos every week. Now let's talk about the flour. If you're unable to find self-rising flour, you have a couple options. You can either make it yourself using baking powder or baking soda. I'll leave the method in the description box. Or if you don't have any leavening agents at all, you can just use plain flour. The texture will be different and the dough won't rise, obviously, but your pizza base will still be soft and absolutely delicious. Now you're going to knead this dough for a couple minutes. It's so easy to work with. If it gets a little bit sticky, just flour your hands and board. Now I'm going to form sort of a log shape because I'm going to divide this in two and show you 2 different pizzas, a stovetop pizza and an oven pizza, both really quick and incredibly delicious. Now, as you're rolling the dough, make sure your board is well floured and you just want to keep the dough moving so it doesn't stick. Roll your pizza to, I'd say, about 1/4 of an inch thickness. Use your pan to take measurements and adjust the size of the pizza to fit your pan. I just trim the edges, using a pizza cutter. This doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to fit your pan. We're going to move over to the stove and allow the pan to get really hot. The trick to getting a really nice crust is to add 1 tablespoon of oil to your pan. And like I said, allow the pan to get hot. This will take no longer than 2 minutes on a medium flame. Transfer your first pizza onto the pan. Be careful. I like to use oiled hands just to make sure the pizza doesn't stick onto my fingers. And we're going to cook this for about 2 minutes. You'll notice the crust will start to form air pockets, just like regular yeast pizza dough. It's a really amazing dough. Now you'll know it's ready to flip when the bottom becomes a nice golden color. Now I do like to assemble the pan pizza upside down because as you can see, the crust around the edges has become nice and crispy and golden, and that's going to be the crust of the pizza. Put your flame on low and at this point add your toppings. If you want the recipe for this tomato sauce, just check the description box. Regarding the cheese, I've said this before, I like to use dry mozzarella that's meant for pizza, but use whatever cheese you prefer. I will say this though, just make sure you shred it or cut it into small pieces. That way it melts really quickly in the pan. There's nothing worse than unmelted cheese on pizza. Add the rest of your toppings and you're going to cover this, and this needs to cook for another 2 to 3 minutes. We want the cheese to fully melt and the bottom to become golden. Transfer this onto your cutting board and you've just made one of the easiest pizzas you'll ever make. This makes for a really quick lunch or dinner and it's absolutely delicious. Italians are really uptight and fussy when it comes to food. I'm allowed to say that because I am Italian myself. Do not let the American accent fool you. I'm going to say it. This was one of the best pizzas I've had in my life. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to show you the best way to make and enjoy this pizza dough. If you have an oven, obviously. The reason I say best is because cheese caramelizes in the oven, adding more flavor and more deliciousness to your pizza. I've preheated my oven to 250 degrees Celsius or 500 Fahrenheit with my pizza pan inside. You can also use a basic, cookie sheet. Roll out your second pizza dough and roll it onto your rolling pin, kind of like if you were making a pie, and transfer it into your hot pan. Try to get it in the pan and be careful because this will be hot. Don't do what I'm doing. My fingers at this point are not susceptible to heat anymore. And you're going to take this and put it on your stove. This is optional, but hear me out. This takes 2 minutes of your time. And I find this step so crucial because it allows the bottom to crisp up and become golden. Your burner should be on medium. Keep an eye on it. Like I said, this will take around 2 minutes of your time, but it adds so much flavor. I do also like to oil the sides of the crust. This again allows the crust to develop color and become more flavorful. Okay, so at this point, once the bottom develops color, you have two options. You can either assemble the pizza right now straight away and then just throw it in the oven, or bake the pizza as is just for 3 minutes in the preheated oven prior to adding your toppings. I personally like to do this because it allows the top crust to start to brown and prevents the pizza from becoming soggy because of those toppings, and allows it to crisp up nicely. Add the tomato sauce, the shredded mozzarella cheese, and your favorite toppings. Now let's talk for a moment. This has become my go-to pizza recipe. You won't be able to tell the difference between this dough and regular yeast dough. The only difference is that this dough is much easier. You can literally put this on the table for you and your family within 20 minutes from start to finish. It makes a great last minute easy dinner. And I can't say enough how delicious this pizza is. Bake it on your top rack for about 5 minutes, depending how caramelized you like your cheese and crust. This looks absolutely amazing and tastes absolutely amazing. But don't take my word for it, make it yourself to see how fantastic this pizza is. I'm so excited for you to try this recipe. That's how good this pizza is. It has a perfect crust. It folds perfectly. It's soft and crispy around the edges with a caramelized cheese and toppings. It's incredibly delicious. You're so wild.